I regularly get questions about supervising provisional learner drivers in the UK. So here is a little video just to give you some advice on this particular issue. Now, there are only two requirements that you need to fulfill in order to supervise a learner driver in the UK. The first is that you hold a full license for the category of vehicle that you want to teach someone or supervise someone in. And the second requirement is that you should have held that full license for a minimum period of 3 years. So it is important to note that if you have a full license in an automatic category, you can only supervise learners in an automatic car. No matter how many years experience you have driving an automatic, you cannot supervise learners in a manual vehicle. Obviously, if you have a full license for 3 years in a manual category, then you can supervise learners in either manual or automatic driving. So what about the question of insurance? Now, as a supervisor, you do not need to be insured either on that car or any other car to supervise someone. It is the responsibility of the driver to make sure that they are insured to drive a car. So if they are not insured, then you can't supervise them, even if you have insurance. But the most important thing to know is that you, as a supervisor, you do not need to be insured to drive the car, unless, of course, if you want to drive the car for whatever reason, maybe if the person becomes tired or they decide to give up and then you want to drive them back home, then obviously you will be driving the car and therefore you need insurance, either your own. If, for example, you have comprehensive insurance on your car, it might cover you to drive somebody else's car. Or if you have been specifically mentioned as an insured driver for that particular vehicle. Now, one of the other questions I do get asked about is the question of, can I supervise a learner if I've had an accident and maybe I've broken a leg or something similar? Well, obviously, you need to decide if the risk is high or low when it comes to supervising a provisional learner. I spoke to a highway patrol officer recently and I asked him the same question, and he said, well, obviously, somebody supervising a learner in a car, especially if it's a private car, they would not expect them to have dual controls, and therefore you will not be using your feet for anything. So just by virtue of the fact that you have a broken leg, or maybe you have a leg in a cast, doesn't necessarily exempt you from being able to supervise them. You can always see what's happening ahead, so you can warn them using your voice, and also if necessary you might be able to take avoiding action using your hand. Which brings me to the other question. Is it possible for me to supervise a learner with a broken hand? Now, this is a different case because obviously you need to be able to determine if you need to intervene. Will you be able to do that? Normally, if, for example, the person that you're supervising is just about at test standard, then you might not need to take any physical intervention. But having said that, it is your responsibility to make sure that you are in a state whereby you can actually and actively supervise a learner. This brings me to the issue of being under the influence of either alcohol or drugs and supervising a learner. Many people might think that, oh, we can go out to the pub and have a drink or two, and then I can ask a learner to drive home because I won't be able to supervise them. Well, the fact is this: if you are not legally able to drive the car, then you are not able to supervise a learner. So if you are drunk or you've had too many pints in the pub, then you should not be supervising a learner. You are actually committing an offense if you supervise a learner while you're under the influence of alcohol or drugs. And a learner, if they decide to ask somebody who is drunk to supervise them, they are also obviously committing an offense because they are not driving in accordance with their license. So these are some of the questions that I do get asked about driving. So if you are interested in supervising a learner, please make sure that you know the full requirements. You need to be you need to have a full driving license, have held it for 3 years, and it must be in the category of the vehicle that you are supervising someone in. You do not need insurance, but you do need to make sure that you are able to supervise or the learner. So no alcohol or drugs. One final thing that I'd like to address is the question that I keep getting asked about whether if a foreign license holder can supervise a learner in the UK. Well, as I've said earlier on, you need to hold a full UK driving license for 3 years or more in order to supervise a learner. Therefore, no matter how many years experience you have in a foreign country, if you do not possess a UK driving license, you cannot legally supervise a learner in the UK. So make sure that you understand these requirements. Even if you've converted your foreign license to a UK license, remember the requirement is that you must have held a full UK license for 3 years. So your driving experience doesn't matter as long as you do not qualify for those 3 years of UK full license. You cannot supervise a driver in the UK. If you have any other questions about supervising a learner in the UK that has not been answered by this video, then by all means leave a comment in the comment section and I will try and answer the question, or I might make another video if necessary. Please do remember to subscribe to my channel for further updates, and if you want, you can follow me on Twitter at UKADI_.